Good morning, my dear students. We are going to discuss today the second part of autonomic nervous system, and that will include the synthesis and the receptors and the distributions of acetylcholine and the cholinergic receptors. Now, before that, we must know what are neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are the chemical compounds synthesized in and released from nerve terminals and act as messenger to communicate between neuron to neuron or neuron to affect organ, and their function ranges from muscle contraction to changes in behavior. So, simply speaking, the chemicals released from nerve terminals to transmit impulse across the synapse. So these things, these chemicals released from the nerve terminals will act just like when the nerve is going to be stimulated. Now these neurotransmitters can be classified in various ways as per biochemical structure. They can be esters like acetylcholine. There can be amines like noradrenaline, adrenaline, and serotonin. These three are monoamines, whereas the diamine is histamine. There may be amino acids like glutamate. There may be some the thing like the adenosine. There may be certain things like the GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid. Beside this, we can classify the neurotransmitters in other ways: the inhibitory and the excitatory neurotransmitter. Inhibitory neurotransmitter is GABA, that is gamma aminobutyric acid and glycine, whereas the excitatory is glutamate. So again, the balance is maintained by these these neurotransmitters. Now here we are starting with the acetylcholine, which is basically the part of cholinergic system, and in this slide you will see how this acetylcholine is synthesized. Acetylcholine is synthesized locally in the cholinergic nerve endings by the following pathways. The first step is the transport of choline. The choline is obtained from serine, and serine is obtained from the food sources. So that part, the transport of this choline to inside this nerve terminal is basically catalyzed or is being modulated by a sodium choline co-transporter system, and this is been done with the help of ATP, and the acetylation is being done by the ATP and coenzyme A by the enzyme choline acetyl transferase inside these nerve terminals. So initially the transport, it is the rate limiting step. If you block this, the acetylcholine synthesis will be stopped. Now within these nerve terminals, ATP, acetate and coenzyme A, in presence of acetate activating reaction, acetyl coenzyme A in presence of choline will synthesize acetylcholine and coenzyme A, and this one is going to be taken up by the storage vesicles. So these things are called vesicles. They are not granules like in the adrenergic system because they don't contain any kind of pigment like chromogranin. So these are called vesicles, and they are containing the prepared acetylcholine. It is produced from these are being taken up within the vesicles, and these being protected by the vesicle. Now these synaptic vesicles are coming here, and what we are seeing that the choline, which is actively taken up from the extracellular fluid into exoplasm, these choline uptake can be blocked here by a drug called hemicolinium, and therefore there will be subsequent depletion of acetylcholine due to interference of the synthesis neurotransmitters. Active uptake of choline, as I said, is the rate limiting step. Now once this has been taken up by the synaptic vesicles, it is stored inside this. The transport of acetylcholine in the synaptic vesicle within this can be inhibited by vesamicol. So this is another blocker. Here you know the name of the blocker. The choline uptake blocker is, already I said the name, hemicolinium, and here the vesicle uptake can be blocked by another one, and that is vesamicol, which blocks the evoked release of acetylcholine, and it is estimated that each synaptic vesicles contain around 100 to 50,000 molecules of acetylcholine in highly ionic form. Then comes the process of release. Acetylcholine is released in response to nerve impulse that depolarize nerve terminals and increase calcium entry through voltage gated channel. So during this release of the neurotransmitter, there will be entry of calcium, and this entry of calcium is happening through voltage gated channel, and this release also can be inhibited by the antagonist ion of calcium, that is magnesium, that also can be inhibited by botulinum toxin and black widow spider toxin. Then the vesicle is used to be fused with the membrane of this synapse, and acetylcholine is released in this space, that is, you can say it's a synaptic cleft, or if there is a postganglionic neuron, you can say before binding with the receptor, it is released. While releasing, the acetylcholine is hydrolyzed to choline and acetic acid, both by an enzyme called, this degradation will happen, the metabolism will happen by acetylcholinesterase. So acetylcholinesterase are of two types, type 1, which is true cholinesterase, and the other one is pseudocholinesterase. It is done very quickly, within less than a millisecond. It is estimated that one molecule of acetylcholinesterase can hydrolyze 3 into 10 to the power 5 acetylcholine molecule per minute, and the turnover time is around 150 microseconds. So acetylcholinesterase has got two active centers. They have, it is not shown here, they have anionic sites and histidine serine esteretic site. So anionic site and histidine serine esteretic site. These two sites are there in case of acetylcholinesterase enzyme, and this enzyme is responsible for the metabolism of acetylcholine, and complete amount of acetylcholine is undergoing metabolism. So as I mentioned, these cholinesterase are of two types. This one is called true cholinesterase or type 1, and the second one is called pseudocholinesterase or butyryl cholinesterase. Now this true cholinesterase is present within RBC. Butyryl cholinesterase or pseudo, P for P, it stands, or it is present in plasma. Now, what is the difference between these two enzymes, the true cholinesterase and the pseudocholinesterase? These are two different enzymes. The distributions are different. Acetylcholinesterase, the true one, is present inside RBC, cholinergic synapses, gray matter, whereas pseudocholinesterase is present in plasma, liver, intestine, glial cells. Acetylcholinesterase hydrolyzes acetylcholine with greater velocity. It can hydrolyze methacholine. Butyrylcholinesterase or pseudocholinesterase exhibits maximum velocity to hydrolyze butyrylcholine, but it does not hydrolyze methacholine. So, methacholine is resistant to pseudocholinesterase. Benzylcholine is not hydrolyzed by acetylcholinesterase, but it can be done by pseudocholinesterase. There is genetic polymorphism which is being observed, which I mentioned while discussing pharmacogenetics in case of pseudocholinesterase, and that is relevant to explain the phenomenon called succinylcholine apnea. So, choline apnea usually occurs in 1 in 3000 individuals with atypical type of pseudocholinesterase. Ultimately, this acetylcholine will bind with its receptors, and I will talk about the receptors, and then we are getting the functions in different systems. Now, from here onwards, let me show you the distribution of different kinds of receptors of acetylcholine, and then we will go back to the system, and I will show you how the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system are actually trying to keep balance in different organs. Muscarinic receptor are one type of muscarinic receptors are one type of receptors in case of this acetylcholine, and the second type is basically known as nicotinic receptors. The muscarinic receptor subtypes are can be classified as M1, M2 and M3. M1 is located in autonomic ganglia, gastric glands and CNS, whereas M2, these are distributed in heart and CNS, whereas M3 are present in mostly in the viscera, smooth muscle and different glands, the parotid, the lacrimal glands, and many of the phenomenon of the effect of acetylcholine can be explained by the binding of acetylcholine with these receptors and due to their distribution. So, M1 receptor, which is present in the gastric glands and the autonomic ganglia, basically release histamine, EPSP, and the acid secretion with CNS learning, and they have actions on the motor functions. They have a specific agonist like oxotrimorin, and they have a specific antagonist that is called pyrenzapine. Pyrenzapine is one kind of anti-peptic ulcer drug, but it's not used nowadays because it stops the synthesis of most of the components of gastric juice, not only hydrochloric acid. So, it is a very non-specific variety of drug and hence not used in that sense in peptic ulcer. It has its own theoretical relevance. M2 is present in heart, while binding with this receptor in heart, there is a less impulse generation. There will be the efflux of potassium and less velocity of contraction, decreased contractility, which will ultimately lead to decrease in heart rate, and hence we will see bradycardia with acetylcholine. This is methacholine. This is a methacholine, which is basically an agonist for M2 receptor, specific agonist. Whereas specific antagonist of this is tryptamine. Whereas M3 receptors are present in the gland, so whatever the secretions you have, if you have more secretion, that means more acetylcholine is binding with M3 receptors. If there is a smooth muscle dilatation, uh, then you will understand that acetylcholine will bind with the M3 receptors, and they're showing this kind of phenomenon. The visceral contraction, the constriction of pupil, uh, the contraction of the ciliary muscles, the vasodilatation, the blood vessels due to the effect on smooth muscles of the blood vessels is basically happening due to the binding of acetylcholine with M3 receptor. The agonist of such is bethanical, and antagonist of such is derifenacin. So all postganglionic, parasympathetic, preganglionic, sympathetic, and sweat gland and blood vessels, they are having muscarinic type of receptors. Their selective agonist is muscarine, whereas they have a selective antagonist, and this antagonist is non-specific, and this is also known as non-specific muscarinic antagonist, and the name of the drug is atropine. So if acetylcholine will cause bradycardia, atropine will cause tachycardia. Remember this in relation to heart. If acetylcholine will cause pupillary constriction, atropine will cause pupillary dilatation. So if you have to remember the physiology of or the role of acetylcholine, just reverse it, then you will be able to understand the role of its specific antagonist atropine on muscarinic receptors. And this type of antagonism is competitive antagonism, as I discussed in general pharmacology. There will be different types of nicotinic receptors, and few receptors are present in the ganglion. The ganglion already been explained why they are called ganglions, and also in the adrenal medulla, which is embryologically similar to that of the ganglions. So here you will see that in receptor, that means neuronal receptors are present. They have a selective agonist, the name is DMPP, whereas they have a selective antagonist, that the name is hexamethonium. Even there is a ganglion blocker which is known as trimethophan campsylate. Trimethophan campsylate is used in dissecting aneurysm of aorta. That is one of the main example or main use of trimethophan campsylate. The skeletal muscles, they containing the other type of nicotinic receptors. So as I discussed previously, the muscarinic and nicotinic. Now nicotinic is subdivided into two, NM and NN. NN and NM. NN already been described. Now NM, it is present in the motor end plate, shown in the very initial video, the site, and its specific agonist is PTMA, whereas specific antagonist is Curare. Curare is basically a kind of toxin which is being used by the tribal of the living in the jungle of Amazon, and they are using bamboo tree to throw an arrow to a particular animal, and this Curare will those arrows are mixed with this Curare like drug, and once this hit the leg of the animals, those muscles are paralyzed, because they are competitive antagonist of acetylcholine in NM receptor, not on the muscarinic but on the NM receptor. That means nicotinic receptor present in the motor end plate. In CNS there are muscarinic receptors. The selective agonist is muscarine, and obviously the antagonist is atropine. So selective muscarinic antagonist is atropine. Selective antagonist in the ganglion level is trimethophan campsylate and hexamethonium, and selective antagonist of acetylcholine in NM receptor is Curare, which is also known as Tubocurare. All of them are obviously of competitive type. So these are the agents which are commonly been seen uh, in the clinical practice. The directly acting agent, the acetylcholine, which is an ester, which cannot penetrate uh, even your cornea because it has a quaternary structure, and it almost has no clinical use because if you give it therapeutically via injection, it will be quickly metabolized by the enzymes called true cholinesterase and pseudocholinesterase. The bethanychol, carbachol, these are having some kind of uses like retention of urine. You can use these kind of drugs, but they are having their reservation towards different kinds of cholinesterase enzymes. So slow recovery is seen with these kind of agents. Pilocarpine, which is obtained from Pilocarpus microphyllus, is basically a cholinomimetic drug used in case of acute congestive glaucoma. We'll come to that later. This will do a little bit different thing than acetylcholine. Instead of decreasing blood pressure, they are increasing the blood pressure by stimulating the nicotinic receptors. The explanation is not given why they are stimulating the nicotinic receptors. This pilocarpine is used in the secretion of the glands in some syndrome like Sjogren syndrome. It's an autoimmune disease where the dryness of different places like eyes, mouth are quite common characteristic of that. There are some indirect acting agent, and those drugs are having the cholinesterase inhibitors. It means they are inhibiting the metabolizing enzyme of acetylcholine. Those drugs are physostigmine, neostigmine, donepezil, then pyridostigmine, rivastigmine, tacrine, which is not used due to hepatotoxicity. Donepezil is a drug which is used in Alzheimer's disease. So, as I said, we'll come to this kind of topic, the clinical topic, later, maybe in the lecture class. But you have to know the name of these drugs, and they are basically cholinesterase inhibitors. There are indirect acting drugs like ecothiophat, which is basically a phospholine iodide compound, and reactivation of acetylcholinesterase is done by pralidoxime, which is one of the life-saving drug in case of organophosphorus poisoning. So these are in brief the classification of different cholinomimetic or parasympathomimetic drug. Parasympathomimetic means they are mimicking the action of acetylcholine, and hence they are also known as cholinomimetic drug. Now, before going to anticholinergic drug and their actions, let us see how the balance in different organs been maintained by sympathetic system and parasympathetic system. The sympathetic system is depicted with red, and the parasympathetic action is depicted with the blue color. Now look at the eyes. The contraction of iris, the radial muscle, that means the pupillary dilatation is the characteristic of adrenaline-like thing. So it's a sympathetic action. And when you read, you try to find out which receptor is responsible, because we are not discussing the adrenergic system at the moment. Whereas the contraction of the iris sphincter, the pupillary contraction, the contraction of ciliary muscles, the accommodation, all these are the predominantly controlled by the cholinergic system, and the domination is basically in this particular site is done by the cholinergic system. It has its dominance over the sympathetic system, but this dominance will keep a balance. In the trachea and the bronchioles, here the dilatation is caused by the sympathetic system. That means adrenaline, noradrenaline will cause dilatation. I am not telling the name of the receptors, that you will find. And the contraction, the increased secretion will be done by the uh, other system, that means the cholinergic system. In adrenal medulla, the secretion or the whole dominance is done by the epinephrine or norepinephrine, or rather adrenaline and noradrenaline. There is no role of these blue lines, that means the cholinergic system. The kidneys, there also the secretion of renin via beta 1 receptor stimulation is done by the adrenergic system. The ureters and the bladder, here you see the relaxation of detrusor, contraction of trigon and sphincter will ultimately lead to the retention of urine, and that is done by the adrenergic system, whereas the contraction of detrusor and relaxation of trigon and sphincter is done by the cholinergic system. In the male genitalia, the stimulation of ejaculation is done by the sympathetic system, whereas the erectile stimulation is done by the cholinergic system. The lacrimal glands, we already mentioned the M3 is present here, and that is done by the stimulation of tears. That means it's a blue line. It is done by the cholinergic system. So acetylcholine is responsible for this. In salivary glands, the red line, that means thick viscous secretion, is done by the adrenergic system, whereas the watery secretion is caused by the the cholinergic system, because the color is blue. In heart, already I told you that decrease in heart rate and decrease in contractility will be mediated via M2 receptor, that I am mentioning, but you have to find it out. And this is the role of the cholinergic system, whereas increased rate, increased contractility is the role of the adrenergic system. In heart and in the blood vessels, we have a domination of these adrenergic system. Only these are the two systems, and beside this there is adrenal medulla. In these 2 or 3 systems, we are seeing domination of adrenergic system or sympathomimetic system, whereas in rest of the systems we will see the domination of the other system, that is cholinergic system. The gastrointestinal system, the decreased muscle motility and tone, contraction of the sphincters, these are all being done by the adrenergic system, whereas increased muscle motility and tone, this is done by the cholinergic system, that means acetylcholine. In the blood vessels, the dilatation in the skeletal muscle, it is a beta 2 receptor mediated action, it is done by the adrenergic system. Mostly in the blood vessels, it's the skin, mucous membrane, splanchnic area. Basically, this causes constriction, and this is also done by adrenergic system. So the blood vessels are the total control of the adrenergic system. Otherwise, most of the other systems are under the control of cholinergic system. So let's go back to the previous slide. Requires during flight, this one being shown in the previous video, the pupil will be dilated by the adrenaline like drug, that means the adrenergic system. The heart, increased heart rate, contractility done by this adrenergic system. So pupil dilatation by adrenergic or sympathomimetic system. This one is also by sympathetic adrenergic system. Blood pressure increased by adrenergic system or sympathomimetic system. In the trachea, the dilatation is caused by adrenergic system. Skeletal muscle, the vasodilatation caused by the same system, that is the adrenergic system, and mood secretion is also caused by adrenaline, renin, and norepinephrine. And you just have to find out which receptor